Hello, hello, everybody. How are you guys?
Good.
It's good. We should give people a few more minutes here just to come rolling in. Not a few more minutes, but at least another minute or two. Switch my screens around. So, yeah, let me just keep my mouth shut for a minute. Let everybody come in. Give it one more minute. Well, while we're waiting, just to make sure everybody's here, does anyone have any questions about where we're at so far with either with the short audio or with anything else? I am working on the grading, but it's going to take well, why don't I say I'll have it done by Sunday. It's just taking a while to get it all done. Also because I've been working on the upcoming assignment, or trying to. Does anyone have any questions about where we're at?
I recorded my audio on the voice memo or whatever it's called on the iPhone,
Yeah,
and then I airdropped it to my computer, and it won't let me put it into the Audacity. Or
right,
what's it called?
right. So that's why did I put it on the La Lima thing? I think the best site to use, Ashley, is Zamzar.
Okay.
So let's see if that's right. Let me share my screen. Has anyone done this yet? Use Zamzar to convert their iPhone audio files? I guess not. Hold on. I think it's called Zamzar. A second. So there might be a better one, Ashley, but you may also be able to find something that you can download through the App Store. I think I've looked in the past, but basically what you want to do is add your M4A file. It's called an M4A, right?
Let me check. Yes, yeah, it is.
Okay, now this is like a free online converter, so it's not necessarily going to be perfect. In other words, if you do like a really huge audio file, there's a risk that it'll reject it, right? So, you can Google, but that's basically what you want. You want either a standalone app that you can, like application that you can download to your computer that will allow you to convert it to an MP3, or you want to use Zamzar if it's a small enough file. I mean, I think it'll take so it says up to 50 megabytes. If you want more, there's probably a way to pay for this. But so 50 megabytes is not huge, but it should be like for a 10 or 15-minute sound file, you should be okay. But just be aware of the fact that there's this limit.
Wait, so
But
we converted it to an MP3 to get it
yeah,
into
you
the
convert it to an
editing,
MP. What?
to get it into the software editing. The
Audacity.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. Okay.
yeah, exactly.
Okay,
Um,
thank you.
yeah. And I think that's up on La Lima, those instructions, just in case you need to reference them somewhere. Let's see. Where am I? So we're in week 6. I think maybe I put it in the email that I sent to you guys, but let me put that in the chat anyway. And it's just ZAMZER. So hold on. Okay, and this is it. I'll look, Ashley, to see if I can find you know, some kind of a standalone application like through the App Store, but I'm not sure there's anything like that. Let's see. Okay, well there's some and there's some that you can pay for. Okay, so this is another alternative for you guys. Does anyone else have any other questions, or are you guys ready to go with doing the workshop?
I
had a
was just wondering.
question.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was just, I'm having trouble finding like the doc for the instructions of the actual assignment. I remember seeing it, and then now when I look at week 6, I can't find it anymore.
That was my question as well.
Oh, okay.
Okay, hold on. Well, because yeah, because there had been an original document in there, and then I updated it. Where is it? Okay, hold on. Like it had been there, and then it wasn't there anymore. Is that what happened? It's here. You guys see it?
Is that the
That
submit? But when you look at the submit, there's no like actual instructions.
Right there.
oh
Go to
yeah,
resources. It's under the week.
Well, it's right here. Did you guys see it here?
Mine doesn't show it.
yeah. That's not there for us. That extra little bit at the bottom.
This
Or is
is
it the?
Oh, but I have it in resources, but it's just not in the submit link.
as a PDF.
Yeah, that little part doesn't show, but when I go to resources, I can find it.
Why does it not? Okay, I'm sorry, folks. I don't. You know, they changed some things around, obviously, to create this new. So you found it in here in week 6.
Yeah.
Okay, let me just make sure that it's accurate. Okay, yeah, I mean it's the right file. I don't know why it's not showing up on your assignment page. I'm sorry about that, y'all. Because even when I go to student view, I can see it on my end. Right, I'm in student view, and there it is. But okay, that's odd. I mean, I guess that there are just some glitches with La Lima. So the sooner you guys run into issues like that, please email me, because obviously, like you can see, I can't see that on my end, so I'm not even aware that it's the case, right? Hold on, this got screwed up. All right, so let's start doing the assignment, or the workshop, I should call it. Does anyone not have, or has anyone had any trouble either accessing the 2 practice files, or you know, downloading Audacity? Everybody okay with that? Do me a favor and give me a thumbs up or something, so I know everyone's okay with it. Okay. All right, wait a minute. Before I actually open that up, let me go over with you guys what we're doing next week. So I had wanted to give you, so by next week, we're going to start doing the NPR style story. In other words, the multi-track story. And you guys will have 2 weeks to complete that. I had mentioned that when we talked on Tuesday, during our session on Tuesday. And I'm going to post that. I think I should have it posted by tomorrow if I can get it all, lined up the way I want. What I'm waiting on is to give you guys maybe, right now I've got 3 options for how to do it. And what I'm waiting on is to see if I can actually offer you a 4th option for how to do the multi-track story. So let me go over that quickly and then we'll get into how to use Audacity. So for the upcoming assignment, here are the basic instructions for it. Okay. So presumably by next week, you're going to have had some practice at using Audacity, at recording decent sound. And so we're going to move into, the kinds of stories you guys have been listening to, over the last few weeks with those NPR reflections. Maybe I should pause and ask, has anyone had any difficulty identifying NPR audio feature stories?
I sort of have. I know that you gave us little informal assignments for each of them for the first NPR reflection, but do we just kind of go in and find stories similar to that?
Well, at this point, Noah, you're about to create one. So really the question is, I mean, you can keep doing the reflections, but the question is, do you understand what it's supposed to be well enough that when I post the assignment tomorrow morning and give you 2 weeks to do it, you have an idea of what kind of a thing you're trying to produce?
Right. Yeah. It's the feature story on one topic with interviews from multiple sources to kind of tie together one story about that.
And you're the narrator, right?
Right. We're kind of weaving it all together into one.
Right. Okay. So now that you know how to record and audio and use the editing software, it's time to put those skills to use to create a 4-minute NPR style audio story. Here are the elements required for the story. Record at least 3 to 4, preferably 4 brief interviews. Now I'm about to explain that I'm going to give you guys different ways to do this, okay? But let me just go through the basic instructions regardless of which way you choose to do it. This is what you produce. 3 to 4 brief interviews with different sources, no more than 15 minutes each. Remember, you have to edit these. You're allowed to use the interview that you did for the short audio assignment. Record 60 to 120 seconds of natural sound related to your story. Write a script that tells a cohesive, focused story based on material gathered in your reporting. Okay, post the audio on your blog and upload the link to La Lima. Oh, I say here, where do I say it? I'll explain it down here, I think. Keep in mind that for your next assignment, you'll be part of a team that will produce a slideshow presentation. So in order to do this last part about posting it to your blog, I thought I had the instructions on here, but I'll make sure that you have them. You need to create a SoundCloud account. So let's also do that today. Because in order to post your short audio one, actually, you're going to need a SoundCloud account for that as well. So in other words, let me show you guys what I mean. So this is SoundCloud. And basically this is like, I mean, I'm pretty sure all of you guys are familiar with this, but just, you know, just to make sure I cover my bases here. This is almost like a, like YouTube, but for sound instead of for video, right? And the idea is that, like here are my SoundCloud files, I think, or I have them somewhere. But here they are. These are the ones I create. I create some Grateful Dead mixes and stuff. And I created this Nat sound exercise, I guess. But the reason I'm using this is because it has storage space. Like if I just were to try and load up my audio stories directly onto Wix, Wix has very limited storage space. So just like I use YouTube to store my videos, I'm going to use SoundCloud to store my audio files. And then when I'm in Wix, I can go here and then go to add. So this is your add button, right? And then go to somewhere here is either for sound or for adding. Let me see if I can find it. SoundCloud text image button, social. Let me see. Yeah, here. Okay, so you go to plus for add, and then go to video and music. You can go to audio players, and one of these options will be SoundCloud. Okay, so that's how you add there it is, SoundCloud player. Okay, so you would add that, and now I can kind of move this around on my page and put it wherever I want. So that's what you'll have to do both for the audio story this week and also for the one for next week. So to go back to what I just had up, which was the instructions. Record at least 3 to 4 interviews, record 60 to 120 seconds of natural sound, write a script. We'll talk about that next week as we're getting into this. You have 2 weeks to do this. So I'm going to break the kind of the lessons of how to do it into pieces for you guys. But part of that'll be then just actually putting it into a script format, so that you know. So in other words, the script will contain the words that you speak when you're narrating your story, but also the words that you're using from the sound bites. Okay. And then when I say post the audio story to your blog, I mean put it up on SoundCloud and then do what I just showed you how to do to link it to Wix. Well, you're welcome to pursue a different topic for the assignment. I strongly recommend that you take photographs. So if you go out on a story, I'm suggesting you take photographs because you may want to use what you're doing with this for your slideshow, which is the next assignment. And think about, just kind of in keeping with what we're doing all semester about multimedia, think about what kind of a story really works best with the medium of audio storytelling. Okay, so having said all that, I want to give you guys a few different options for how to complete this story, okay? So one of those options, and I guess I'm going to give these to you guys in order of maybe difficulty for how they would, how it would go. One of the options is probably the simplest way that you can complete the assignment, okay? And that is, if I can pull it up, that I'm going to go to this site. I'm going to link you guys to this list of story prompts. Let's see if I can just pull it up. this way. Okay. And these basically are ideas for how you can tell a story, okay? So what the story prompt is just like a question, like, is social media making us more narcissistic? What advice do you have for younger kids about navigating, or, for younger people about navigating social media? How do you use Facebook? So there's 1,000 of these. Okay. So the simplest way for you to complete this assignment, if and I'm just doing it this way because of the pandemic to kind of avoid some of the complications, is that you do a story where, you narrate it answering your own story's prompt. You script it, and then you've got to find a couple of other friends or people to interview that you record, and you interweave with this. And you've also got to find natural sound for it. But you basically do, for lack of a better term, I want to avoid being confusing with some of these terms, but for lack of a better word for it, you basically create your own podcast, okay, by answering these, weaving in 2 or 3 other interviews with either friends or family around the story prompt that you've decided on, and that's your multi-track audio. So that's the simplest way you can complete the assignment. You're welcome to do it that way, okay? The second way to do it is that I'm going to post this archival storytelling thing. I'm going to make it live this week. Now, what this means is that you would basically create this as if you were creating a news story, but you could use all of these, whatever sound resources you can find from all of these different databases in order to do the story. So there's one, I don't see it on here, but I'll make sure to add it, called StoryCorps. And I don't know if StoryCorps we'll have to look to see if it has ready-made audio, MP3 audio files, but it's got podcasts, so that it shouldn't be very difficult to take one of these audio files that they have and convert it into an MP3. So there's this vast number of just stories that people have told. StoryCorps is like a project that's been around for many years, where they basically have set up sound booths all over the country and gotten people to talk and share their share their experiences, share their memories, that kind of thing. So you do it by location, military voices, parenthood, September 11th, historians talking. You can do it by the year, going back to 1989. These are obviously years when they recorded the StoryCorps, not necessarily the years that these people are referring to in their stories. But anyway, you can grab audio from databases like this and interweave a multi-track from that, so you don't really have to do any reporting, and just do it in the format that I'm explaining, where you narrate, you drop in sound bites. Okay. The third option is just to do a straight up article. Okay, like a traditional NPR thing. Now I'm reaching out to the Honolulu Zoo and to the Department of Land and Natural Resources to see if I can get their cooperation with you all. For years now, I've encouraged students to do stories about, like, the Honolulu Zoo, and they've been extremely, when students have just called and requested interviews, they've been extremely uncooperative with us. So I tried this time reaching the education arm of the zoo. And at first they were very friendly. And then by the end of the day, they were saying, oh, giving us 2 or 3 weeks notice is not long enough. Maybe we can do it next semester. And I was tempted to say to them, you guys are a public institution. And if a couple of my students want to call to do a story, like, they shouldn't be just getting rejected for their journal, they're student journalists. They shouldn't be just getting rejected by every source at the Honolulu Zoo. Like they shouldn't need more than 2 or 3 weeks notice to give you to do a simple interview with someone who's a publicly paid employee at the zoo. So that's a challenge. I'm also going to reach out to the Department of Land and Natural Resources to see if I can get their cooperation, because my concern is that especially for you guys starting out, a number of the like, we just unfortunately locally we don't live in a very transparent community. Like they're not um, very good about getting back to you and doing interviews with you and understanding the importance of, sort of journalism and openness in a democracy. So the juniors and seniors are more experienced at this, so they know how to be more determined and dogged, and they're also more self-confident over the phone. For you guys, I routinely hear how difficult it is for you guys to land your interviews. And in the pandemic, I'm afraid it's going to be even more difficult, because you can't simply show up in person and ask these people for interviews. So if you want to pursue the traditional news story, which I very much encourage you all to do, then by Tuesday, um, I want to ask you to have a pitch ready about and to be able to share it with the class about what you want to do your story on. If you want to major in journalism, I'd really encourage you to go this route, or at least try, because of the fact that landing these sources and gathering these interviews and doing this kind of research is really what you'll be doing in journalism. You won't be doing an archival approach when you do traditional journalism, and you won't be doing certainly a personal podcast. Is everybody following me? Do any of you guys have any questions?
When will you be posting this on La Lima?
Either tomorrow morning or Saturday morning.
Okay, thanks.
So you'll be seeing, these instructions. Another thing that I'm gonna include in this, Ashley, did you just ask me that?
Yes.
Another thing I'll be including in that, Ashley, is let me see if I can pull it up here. I think I put it in this folder. But it's like a list of like something like 15 different phone apps. Now we've traditionally used Tape-A-Call as a app that you can download on your phone to do telephone recordings. But actually I just found, at the beginning of the semester, a list of like 15 different apps for the phone. And so you guys can try different ones, because most people have had, a good experience with Tape-A-Call, but some people don't. There have been complaints. And so you guys might want to try out the different apps that exist now, and decide like which one really works best for you. But basically, that way you can do your interviews just over the phone, and you can record the phone call and use that for your audio storytelling. So I'm going to put that up for either tomorrow or Saturday morning for this whole assignment, in addition to these instructions. And the other thing that I'll do, other than just kind of the how-to resources that I'm going to add to this, are let me think, what was it? A list of like a Google Doc with a list of story ideas. Now the thing is, I haven't worked up a whole new list of story ideas for reporting during the pandemic. That would take a bit more time. So that's why I'm giving you guys these other options of like, you can do the story prompt version, you can do the archival storytelling version, or, we already did kind of those exercises where I asked you guys to develop story ideas. And so this is the time to really pull those, and we did those individual meetings. So this is the time to really pull those ideas off the shelf and say, this is what I want to pursue for my story for the multi-track. You're going to have a couple weeks to do it, which isn't, in the past, I've done maybe 3 weeks for it. But since I had this idea in mind of just doing this basic story prompt version, I kind of made it a narrower window. And what I did this semester was I added the thing that we did where we looked at photojournalists of the past. So that kind of took away a week on the multi-track thing. But again, I mean, if you're concerned about time, I would just go with option A, which is using this story prompt thing. So you'll get all this and be able to look at it tomorrow, but I just wanted to give you a heads up, A, that I'll be posting this over the next couple of days for the assignment that'll be due 2 weeks from now. And also B, that if you're gonna go the route of pursuing your own story, you should be ready to kind of pitch it to the class and to me by next week. Any other questions? Ashley, that was obviously a good one. No? Okay. It's a lot to absorb. When you see it all posted tomorrow and Saturday, just look it over carefully. If there's another weird glitch that I can't see, like that you're not able to pull up the instructions or something basic like that, then please email me as soon as possible so I'm aware of it. Okay. All right. So let's get rolling with Audacity now. So here's the application. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop in, let me just drop in one of the 2 tracks. Okay. Where is it? Oops. Okay, so here I've got euphonium and this one. So euphonium is one practice track and new JOUR is the other that, you know, I put up on the shared Google Drive for you guys. So I'm going to just grab the euphonium one for right now. And I'm simply going to grab it and drop it in like that. Okay. Now, one of the things you guys may want to do when you end up with something like this, like if I have this, and then I have a file like the new JOUR one, notice that this one is stereo. That's why there are 2 of these tracks here, and this one is mono. So, you know, arguably I don't want that. That may not turn out, it may be fine, but it may turn out to sound funny when I put these together and then export as an edited sound file. So if that's the case, I would select this. I would then go to tracks, mix, and mix stereo down to mono. Okay, so now I have 2 mono files. Now, just some basics of moving around the interface here, okay? So if I want to, so these are sound waves. That's what we're looking at. We're looking at visual representations of the sound file, obviously, right? If I want to zero in and like work on a certain fine detail, like I just want to cut out a couple of seconds of audio, I'm working in finer detail. I want to use my my zoom keys. Okay, so there's 2 ways of getting at that. One is that if you go here, you can just push the button, zoom in, and notice it's elongating because I'm looking closer up at what I'm, this is the same file I had before, but it's just much longer now because I'm zooming in, okay? So the way I did that was I just used the buttons that are right up here. The other way to do it is, and this is actually easier, is to use on your Mac, it would be Command and plus or minus, and on your PC, it would be Control and plus and minus. Or you can do, if you want to go back to the default, you hit Command and 0, and that should, well, that should have worked. Command 0. Oh, maybe not. What's the? default. Oh, I think it's command 3. Yeah. So to go to default, it's command 3. And now we're at the, I think is that the default? Let me see. Oh no, command 2 brings you back. So now we're back to where we were. So it's command 1 for zoom in, command 3 to zoom out, and command 2 for your default. All right. So now that I've done that, let me just show you guys the simple playback options. So when here are your tools up here. And I'm in the basic selection tool right now. So in order to do playback, ordinarily, if I didn't have 2 tracks here, I would just select a part and I would hit the space bar to play. But that sounds like a lot of noise because right now it's playing this track and this track on top of each other, right?
I started on trumpet.
Which is a lot of noise. So in order to just hear one track and not the other, I'm going to mute this track. And now I just hear that. Okay. Now, what's funny is that I'm almost done with the whole tutorial because then the next 2 things I'm going to show you guys is that I'm in selection tool, right? So if I want to grab a chunk of audio, I can just drag my cursor like that. I've now grabbed this chunk of audio. So to hear that in playback, if I want to hear this, I'm going to grab that, okay? Now the fastest way for me to, what I want to do is I want to bring this down and make it its own little chunk that I can manipulate and move around. So the easiest way to do that is for me to hit Command D. And now this piece is down here, okay? Now, what can I do with this? Well, let's say I want to combine this with a little bit of the track of the interview. Like I want a little bit of this music and then I want some of the sound to come right after it, okay? So what I would do is I'm going to mute this. I'm going to mute this. I'm going to unmute the sound file. Let's listen to a second so we can choose what we want to pick out to move here.
Well, I started on trumpet when I was in 3rd grade. So when I was maybe 9 years old, I was taking trumpet lessons.
Okay, let's say we want to use that, okay? So I'm going to grab that and it ends, she pauses right about here, okay? So now I'm going to do Command D again. That's now created a separate thing here. Now I can mute my original ones and I can start playing with these 2 as part of my mix, okay? So if I want the music and then I want the sound, now I'm going to use a different tool. So first I'm going to mute this, and that's already muted. I'm going to mute this. I'm going to unmute this because I'm going to listen to that for playback. And I'm going to use this tool, which is called your time shift tool, okay? And I'm going to grab this and I'm going to move this over to here, okay? Now if I do playback, I'm going back to my selection tool. It sounds like my mix is going to sound like this.
Well, I started on trumpet when I was in.
Okay, so that's how you move chunks of audio back and forth with one another. I would just keep creating different tracks. And then when I actually want to export, when I've got the mix the way I want it, I would delete this, and then go to export and export it. Now there's one other, and we're almost done here. You know, we can, the other thing you can do is you can grab a piece of this and hit Command C and copy this and then paste it down there. So I did Command V to paste. So just like in Microsoft Word where you use Command C to copy and Command V to paste, you can copy and paste. A lot of times you probably want to do individual track and track and track to create your mix so that things don't get maybe too confusing, but you can certainly use this if you feel like you're creating, you know, too many of these down the thing and it's getting difficult to work with like that. we're pretty much done though, except one last thing that I need to show you guys, which is this tool, okay? So what this tool allows you to do is to fade in and out, okay? So like, for example, I can fade this down. So in order to fade, so I select the tool and then I bring it like onto this and I select a part and I just mouse click and it creates those little, you guys see those tiny little buttons? And then what I do is I lower this like this, okay? Well, that's lowering the whole track. Okay, so now that's all getting quieter. The more I shrink the sound wave, the quieter it's going to be. So like, to just give you an idea of what that sounds like, going back to selection tool, if I go to here, this is what it sounds like normally. If I grab it and shrink it like that, and that should be at least a little bit quieter. Now if I go to playback, you hear how much quieter it is? So that's how you would just like reduce the sound on, if you were just reducing it globally. But check this out. So if you want to actually do a fade, or you want it to fade up and down, you select here, right? Oops. And then I do another selection point. Let's say I do it here, okay? Now, when I drag this down, it's getting quieter from this point on, okay? Or I can create a third point, like let's say here, and now when I shrink this down, what's going to happen? You guys see how that's going to work? It's going to go from loud to quieter to back up to loud, okay? So if I want to fade out this clip and fade in on this one, let's say I want it to get quieter towards the end of this clip and then start quiet and get louder and fade in on this one. I can grab this. I'm having trouble grabbing, but so it's going to get quieter and I can control how fast it gets quiet. And then I'm going to create ones here to fade in. Oops. And now let's listen to what that ends up sounding like.
Well, I started actually playing.
Okay.
I started on trumpet when I was.
Now the thing is, if I want to now go back to editing, I have to make sure to stop my playback. If I pause it, I'm going to get really frustrated because I'm going to go, why can't I edit? Why don't any of my buttons work? And it's because I'm on pause. So that's something that screws people up a lot. So I guess if this was a classroom, I'd say take the practice files, play with it. If you've got your own files, audio files now, all the better for you to use those. But play with this a minute. If this was a normal classroom, I would say I'll go around the room and anybody who has a question, raise your hand and I'll get to you. Since we're sharing a Zoom thing, I think maybe the best thing to do would be to ask you guys to raise your hand or whatever when you have a problem, and I'll sort of troubleshoot for the group. So, all right, why don't you guys play with it and let me know how well this works.
I have a question. Does it save your work like automatically, or like if you want to work on it and then you're not finished and you go back later, should you save it? Or
I would, that's an excellent question, and I'm not sure. I would save as you go. Let's look under properties, under preferences, what it's doing. I don't see, Ashley, I don't see a save thing here. So I would maybe try and you know, do it like I would save as you go, because I don't see like a save function. You know, the other
If-
the other
oh, sorry.
problem with that, Ashley, is that you know, what you want to end up with is your mix, right? Not with like this thing in itself isn't really your work. You don't have a file until you export it as an MP3. So I would be careful with that, because I'm not sure of its autosave. You know, like the normal professional programs that we use, Ashley, like all have autosave, but this is not like a normal. This is a free piece of software, right? So like if I go to quit, it's asking me to save. So I'm not going to advise you that it's auto saving. I don't think it is. Oops, in fact, I just lost it. But all right, so you guys play with it, and as soon as you have questions about it, let me know. Maybe let's take 10 or 15 minutes with letting you guys play with it, and then let's hear people's mixes. So let me give you guys 15 minutes, and at 11:32, I'll check in with you all and see where everybody's at.
I just put in my audio and it says error opening sound device. Try changing the audio host playback device and the project sample rate.
It's probably, what kind of file is it?
I converted it to the MP3.
And it's saying, what does it say?
It says error opening sound device. Like I put it on there. You can see like the sound waves, but it won't let me touch it or edit it.
Well, for one thing, see if you can import it. But I'm concerned that something went wrong with the file. It's showing it as an MP3.
Yeah.
All right, see if you can do it through audio, like through import and then
Import
audio.
it, yeah.
Yeah. Do me a favor, Ashley. Can you upload it into that MP3 into our shared Google Drive for Journalism 200, and I'll try it on my end, because I want to see if it has something to do with the operating system and version of Audacity that you downloaded.
Okay.
Any luck, Ashley?
How should I add it into the Google Drive? Like, do I put it as a?
Put it in your folder and just see if you can drag it into the.
Okay.
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 So no, you had no luck importing it the other way.
Yeah, I did the file import, and it still said error.
Okay. I'm thinking it doesn't have to do with the file. I'm thinking it has to do with your version of Audacity, because that thing about the device is kind of got me wondering. So here it is. I'm thinking it's going to work when I do it into mine. Let's see. Yep. So the issue is your version of Audacity. This is
yours an older version?
I have Audacity 2.3.2, and my operating system is 10.15.7. You using a Mac?
Mm-hmm. I have 2.4.2.
Yours is 2.4.2.
Mm-hmm.
Is that definitely the most recent one?
I think so.
All right. I think there's an issue with the version you've got. If you can find Audacity 2.3.2, the only problem is you need to make sure you completely uninstall 2.4.2 to put this one in. I think I installed this because at the time there was a problem with the version of Audacity. Let me see. You're at. Let's Google the problem here. So it's. What was the error message you're getting?
Let me try it again. Says error opening sound device. Try changing the audio host playback device and the project sample rate.
Check Audacity settings. Let's like work through some of these issues here. All right. Maybe check before we start playing around with different versions of the software, Ashley. Let's try this, okay? So try turning off transport option software playthrough on off. This should never be enabled. You know
Transport what? Sorry.
Try turning off transport options, overdub on and off, software playthrough on off. So this is under
The overdub you said?
it says here software playthrough on off and overdub on off. So under transport. Where is that? Okay, so to turn these off, software playthrough, and so these, I guess, should be unchecked. Are they checked for you or unchecked?
They're unchecked.
Okay. So now let's look at, for check operating systems. You've got a Mac, and the finders go to Utilities, Auto MIDI Setup App, and Audio. Select in turn the required recording and playback devices. Set format to the same sample rate or whatever is the number of recording channels is Audacity. I'm not really sure how to do that. Let me see if it comes up in the forum somewhere. Are you on the most recent version of what's it called? Catalina?
Yeah, I just did that the other week.
Okay. What's weird is that you're getting this weird sampling rate error. I don't have the. Let me try it on if I have it on my laptop, the more recent version of Audacity. One thing you can try and do is uninstall. What did you say? What version did you say your Audacity was?
2.4.2.
Yeah, and install 2.3.2, which you can probably find on the internet if you look for download Audacity 2.3.2. But hold on, let me get my Mac Air to see if I can figure this out. So. All right, what version do I have on here? I have this, like I was saying, I have this weird old version because for a few months, yeah, I have 2.3.2 on here as well, Ashley, because I found that it worked. And I think I found that the more recent updates were, at least at the time, and this was a few months ago, were giving me problems. I mean,
I found the 2.3.2, but it doesn't give me an option to download that version.
let me see if I can find one. The other problem with this is that you've got to make sure that all the pieces of your Audacity 2.4.2 are off of, are uninstalled and are deleted. I don't know, actually, I'll have to look into the glitches of 2.3.2 and see if I can find um, well, I found it right here. but I don't, I think this is probably where I got mine from, but I
Wait.
can't promise this source, you know. I mean, I think it's probably okay. I can give you the link to it anyway.
Okay. Thank you.
But like I said, I'm not sure this will work either. I mean, I think what I'd like to try and do is find out why that version of Audacity is giving you problems, right? Because I mean, there's your file. I'm getting it to work, you know. So it's not the file. It's something about the version of Audacity. It's got to be. Wait, where's the chat? So here's the link that I gave you for the old version. Now, I'm just wondering if you use this, if you're allowed to just export an MP3. Because it used to be in the old version before they did the updated thing that you had to install another file too, and it was a real hassle. Let's see if that worked.
I'm Ashley Middleton, and I'm here with Captain Ken Middleton.
Okay, so it's working. I mean, you know, you can download it with 2.3.2 if you can get that version of the software. I think you can download that here. You want to try and do that?
Yeah, I'm deleting the other version right now and downloading it.
All right. Let's see if that works. Yeah, I mean, the way that I troubleshoot this a lot is just kind of doing what I was showing you. I look in the forums to see what other problems other people have had with it, and what is this one? This one's from 2018.
I got the same message on the 2.3.2.
Well, all
Can
right.
for this project, could I use a different?
Yeah, you don't have
okay.
to use this software. I was just trying to give you a free editing software. Rachel and Alicia, do you guys have any questions?
No, mine's working out.
Okay. How were you able to figure out how to do the editing?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, good. Yeah, Ashley, I don't know what the problem is. I mean, I'm just trying to think. You know, that MP3 seems like it should be the exact same MP3 that I was using, right? So unless maybe restarting the computer would help and somehow clear it out. But you know, what's weird is that I can't even find anyone in the forums saying that this was a problem with this version of Audacity. Let's see, what does this one say?
Oh, that's the same one. It says I get the following error. Error opening sound device.
Right here.
Below that, the paragraph below that, the middle. Sorry, when it says when I open an audio file. Right there.
Okay. So let's see. I did check my recent installations, so they tried rebooting as well. I don't know, it doesn't seem like anyone's figured it out, Ashley.
I have some other editing software that I can use.
Yeah. I mean, what I don't understand is, you know, you're using the same, I use the same file as you and the same versions of Mac as you and the same operating system. You know, same operating system, same version of Audacity, same file. And I'm not running into these problems. So I can't understand what's different about what you're running and what I'm running, why I'm not having a problem and you are.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's very confusing. But you know, that's kind of the downside of these like free kinds of software, right? Is that sometimes you run into this kind of thing. Do you have some kind of audio editing software you know how to use?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Can you do everything that I just showed you? How to
Yeah.
do?
Yeah.
Okay. Well then, problem solved, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the nature of this stuff, is that, you know, it's like get her done, right? You know, however you need to be able to do it. Just go with that. And I'm sorry this didn't work for you. I'm sorry I can't figure out why.
It's okay.
But you know, I just inevitably run into issues like that. So if I can figure it out, I'll let you know though.
Okay.
All right. I'll talk to you later.
Thank you. Okay.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Hey
I
Alicia,
have
what's
a
up?
question.
Yeah.
I don't know how to get the NAT sound. Do I record it by myself, or
What do you mean?
like don't I
You
need
know
the
what NAT
NAT?
sound is?
Yeah.
So why do you not know how to record it?
So do I just record any natural sound that's
Well, not any. I mean, you know, you want to find sound that is appropriate for what you're for the story you're trying to tell.
okay? So I have to record one, right?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Does that answer your question? I'm not sure I understand what you were trying to ask.
I don't really know how to like what I
Just
should
record some sound.
Okay.
Like, you know, nat sound is the sound other than just voices that help you tell a story. You know, it's the sound of a bird. It's the sound of a crowd. It's the sound of cars, whatever it is that fits with the story you're trying to tell, that adds to the storytelling. Do you understand?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Thank
All right.
you.
Yeah. All right. Bye.
Bye.